Welcome to this session on statement assumptions. Now, statement assumptions can be confusing if you don't understand the basic about statement assumption. But once you do that, this is not very difficult to handle. So that's where we'll start first. Before we look at the questions, let me spend about 2 to 3 minutes to explain you what statement assumption really is. Let's go to the whiteboard. Now, let me write one statement. Let's say Anita told a maid or a servant to go to the market and buy vegetables. Now, when Anita made this statement, what we have to do is go to the mind of Anita and think from her angle. Now, let me ask you this question. Is the market open? At least, for sure, Anita is thinking that market is open. Otherwise, why would she ask her maid, maybe a husband, maid to go buy vegetables from the market? Is vegetable found in the market? Vegetable should be found in the market, because that is what Anita is assuming. Okay, is a servant capable of buying vegetable? If the servant is not capable of buying vegetables, why is Anita telling her maid or a servant to go buy vegetables? So these are called assumptions. What are assumptions? Assumptions are things that are necessary. Let me use the word necessary for a statement to be true. Let me repeat this again. Assumptions are things that are necessary for a statement to be true. So therefore, if I say that market is open, whether that statement is true or false is irrelevant. I cannot conclude that market is open from just by the statement that Anita made. But for Anita to make the statement, market should be open, right? Therefore, market is open is an assumption in that particular statement. Now, there is an easier way to look at this particular statement assumption questions. Is it what I'll call a negation test? Now, focus here. What does negation test mean? Assumption is something that is necessary. For instance, to be a mother, it is necessary that you have to be a woman. Which means, if I do the negation test, if you're not a woman, then I know for sure you're not a mother. Something like that. Let me explain this here. If I negate this statement, that the statement is market is open. If you negate the statement that the market is not open, what does that do to the original statement? It will destroy it, right? If the market is not open, why is Anita telling her maid to go buy vegetables from the market? Therefore, market is open is an assumption, a necessary assumption. Let me give another example. There are no vegetables at home. It may be a sufficient reason for Anita to send her maid to the market. But is it necessary that only if there are no vegetables at home will Anita tell her maid to buy the vegetables from the market? Let's do the negation test. Let's negate this. There are vegetables at home. Does that destroy the original statement? Anita can still tell her maid to go buy vegetables even if there are vegetables home, right? Therefore, this is not an assumption. So what we did was, we negated the assumption. It should destroy the statement. That is what is a negation test. And this is an awesome test, and this can help you easily identify what are assumptions. Assumptions, again, are things that are necessary for a statement to be true. Now, using this simple concept, let's attack each of these questions. Okay, so in the question below, a statement is followed by two assumptions, number 1 and 2. An assumption is something supposed to be taken for granted. You have to consider the statement and the following assumption and decide which is assumption that is implicit in the statement. Mark A if only assumption 1 is implicit, mark B if only assumption 2 is implicit, C if neither are implicit, D both. Okay. So you have to independently evaluate. The statement is saying the patient's condition would improve after operation. Assumption is something that is necessary for this statement to be true. The patient can be operated upon this condition. Let's do the negation test. If patient cannot be operated upon this condition, then why is the statement being made that the patient condition would improve after operation? Therefore, assumption 1 is implied. You getting that again? Let me repeat it. The assumption is saying the patient can be operated upon in this condition, and that is necessary for the original statement to be true, that the patient's condition would improve after operation. Therefore, assumption 1 is implicit. Okay, assumption 2 is saying the patient cannot be operated, which is anyway, if the statement is clearly saying the patient condition would improve after operation, how can you say the patient cannot be operated? So, assumption is not implicit. Answer is option A. Let's do a few more so that you can understand this concept of negation. Let's look at this particular statement. The statement says, to keep myself up to date, I always listen to 9 p.m. news on radio. A candidate tells the interview board. Assumption 1, the candidate does not read newspaper. Has it got any relation to him watching the news on radio? Nothing, right? This statement is not required. Whether the candidate reads the newspaper or does not read the newspaper has no relation to the candidate wanting to watch news on radio. Therefore, there is no relation between these two statements. Therefore, assumption 1 is not implied. Okay. Like I told you, assumption is something that is necessary for the statement to be true. Recent news are broadcast only on radio. Is it necessary for the statement to be true? To keep myself up to date, I always listen to 9 p.m. news on radio. Let's negate this. The newspaper, recent news are broadcasted not only on radio. That does not destroy the statement in any way whatsoever. Therefore, assumption 2 is not implied. Answer choice is C. Right? Let's do one more so that you get the hang of this. Okay? Let's look at this statement. In fact, why don't you try? Why don't you pause the video, solve this question, and see if you got an idea of how to handle this question. Go ahead, pause and solve it. And remember, assumption is something that is necessary for the statement to be true. Alright. Did you mark C? Neither 1 nor 2 is implicit. Did you? Let's see whether you are right or wrong. Lack of stimulation in the first 4 or 5 years of life can have adverse consequences. So what it's saying is lack of stimulation in the first 4 or 5 years of life can have adverse consequences. Let's read assumption 1. A great part of development of observed intelligence. Nothing is mentioned about observed intelligence. Nothing whatsoever. That so observed intelligence has got no relationship to original statement being made. Therefore, it can't be an assumption. If you got that right, awesome. Let's look at assumption 2. 50% of the measurable intelligence at age 16 is predictable by age 4. What does this got to do with the statement anyway? We are looking at things that are necessary for the statement to be true. What happens at the age of 16 has got nothing to do with the statement that is being made. Okay. So therefore, answer choice is C, and you've got it right. Let's look at 4. Yeah, when you try it, pause the video, try, and then we'll analyze. Alright, the statement says, as there is great demand, every person seeking ticket or program will be given only 5 tickets. A lot of demand. Okay, so we're going to give only 5 tickets. 5 to every person. 1. The organizers are not keen on selling the ticket. Is it implied? Okay, that is not implied at all. All they are saying is there are a lot of demands and we want to make everyone happy. So we're kind of giving tickets to everyone. So you can't say that organizers are not keen on selling this ticket. It is not implied. Even if we negate that statement, organizers are keen on selling the ticket. Does that destroy the original statement? No, they are still giving 5 tickets to everyone. No. So statement 1 is not implied. Oh, sorry, assumption 1 is not implied. Let's do assumption 2. No one is interested in getting more than 5 tickets. I am only giving 5 tickets. I have no clue about what other person thinks. So that is for me to give 5 tickets to someone has got no relationship between what he thinks about these 5 tickets. I am giving 5 tickets. That is my wish for whatever reason. It has got nothing to do with what that person thinks, right? So assumption 2 is not necessary for the statement to be true. Again, answer choice is C. Neither 1 nor 2 is implicit. One more. Alright. Now why don't you try this one? Pause the video, solve it, and see if you got it right. Okay? If the answer choice is B, then you've got it right. Let's read the statement. It says, in case of any difficulty about this case, so we're talking about a particular case, and any difficulty that happens in a particular case, you may contact our company lawyer. The statement is talking, if you have any difficulty on this case, you contact our company lawyer. Assumption 1. Each company has a lawyer of its own. Why is this necessary for me to make this statement? It's my company, I've got a lawyer, and I can solve your problem. Why should I require lawyers in every company to have any lawyer? So assumption 1 is not implied. Assumption 2, the company's lawyer is thoroughly briefed about this case. Now that is implied. Let's do the negation test and check. The company's lawyer is not thoroughly briefed about this case. Then how can I say that for any difficulty you should contact my lawyer? Therefore, this statement that the company lawyer is thoroughly briefed about the case is necessary for the statement to be true. Hence, it's an assumption. So answer choice is B. So what have we seen? Statement and assumption, don't make it very confusing. Just apply the simple rule and understand the simple logic. The logic is very simple. For something to be an assumption, assumption is something that is necessary for the original statement to be true. Now if I am telling you in the next session, please come prepared, otherwise you will not understand. What I am assuming, you have resources to prepare on your own. You are capable of preparing on your own. If that is my assumption, right? You make the assumption true and ensure that you come prepared for the next session. Thank you so much.